Good morning, legends. Alright, so today I've just got back from a trip up into the mountains of Lithgow, New South Wales, and I noticed the temperature gauge was spiking just a little bit. Now I like to keep on top of my maintenance in the four-wheel drive, nothing better than a reliable vehicle, so I am going to change the thermostats. So just for reference, on the straight it's fine, on normal driving it's fine. Just on some of those longer steep hills I see the temp gauge start to creep up a bit. Not really alarming levels, but enough to get me a little bit concerned. So I'm going to change that thermostat and I'll show you how I do it. Looking into the engine bay on the 75 series, the thermostat is located down here behind the alternator, which is under the air conditioning compressor on the block. Toyota, in their wisdom, put it in a very stupid spot. So we've got to get all this stuff out of the way. The airbox, the inlet piping for the turbo, that's all got to come out. Now the thermostat is behind that hose, right down there, right in behind that. So the last thing is we've got to remove this hose. Hopefully we don't have to move the alternator and we should be able to get at it. Should. Righto, so we have removed the intake hose out the way, and you can see that there is the thermostat. Those two bolts, one here and one there. So before we move on, I'm just going to cover up the inlet of the turbo, give everything a bit of a clean. You don't want dirt and muck and stuff going inside the thermostat housing nor inside the turbo, so we'll seal it all up, clean it all out. It should make life a little bit easier and we can actually see what we're doing. Righto, so there we have it. Now I found if I move this wire out the way, I can get pretty good access to that bolt there. In terms of blocking off the turbo, I just use sandwich bags and a cable tie. You can use a rubber band, just put it in there, don't forget to take it out, but all we are trying to do is stop debris or water entering into the turbo. That would obviously end in a failure, so take care there. Now let's see if we can try and get this thermostat housing off. Okay, so the one on the right is proving very difficult to get. The alternator is just not allowing a good enough angle on it. If you could get a spanner on it, you wouldn't have too much of a problem. But it just angles it enough out of the way, even with a universal joint, that you can't get a good enough purchase on it to crack it. So the one on the right is the one that I'm trying to get at first, because that is obviously the hardest one to do. Don't ever think to do the easy ones first. Always go for the hard ones. Righto, so I've managed to get the alternator loose. You can see I can give it a bit of a rocking like that, so it moves. Now, where the 3/8 ratchet is, underneath, which is a bit hard to see, but you get the idea there. You just got to loosen that one. Don't take it out, just crack it, loosen it. This will allow the alternator to pivot backwards and forwards on the bolt. Over here, where that hole is, yeah, this one here, this one goes up there and through the adjuster. So that bit here is the adjuster. Got to take that bolt out and then loosen this one. Don't take it all the way off. This will allow you to pivot the alternator backwards and forwards. The reason we need to do this is we need to get the belts off to move the alternator out of the way. So I'll do that. Okay, now you can see I've got that alternator a fair way out of the way now. Hopefully that gives me good access to that bolt, which is what I've been trying to get at. I think with a universal joint, I should be able to reach it quite well. And hopefully we'll be past this bit. Right, so I finally got both those bolts off. You can see one of them was very difficult. I had good purchase on it the whole time, and it would just keep sliding and sliding. Last ditch effort, I used the small 3/8 ratchet gun that I have, or rattle gun, sorry, and very gently I broke it loose. Going to have to replace this bolt, I think. So next thing is release this. Now I'd say we're going to lose a fair bit of coolant. That's okay. I found one more sneaky bolt. If you can see it. There. Oh, what fun this one could create. And there is our thermostat. Take it out. Doesn't want to budge. Okay, we have the new and old thermostat out now. This is the old one, still has a seal. This is the new one. But what I'm going to do before I chuck the new one in is I want to test the new one versus the old one. So I've got a pot of water here on the stove. I'm just going to drop both of them in and see when they open. Chuck the old one in first. And now the new one. Both of these are 77 degrees. So we should start to see them opening at around the same time. I have a little laser gun temperature sensor and it's showing 79 degrees and 81 degrees on the new one. 82, 82. So they're both the same temperature. We'll just sit back and let them open. You can see this one is starting to open. You can clearly see it's opening. Whereas this one is not. See, not open at all. This one's open quite a lot. We still do not even have the old one open a little bit. The new one, wide open almost. So there you go. I may have solved my temperature issue. I suspect the old one was good enough at just normal driving around town, but once you put load on it, it wasn't good enough at all. Okay, so the new thermostat is now back inside the housing. All we have to do now is reconnect the alternator belts back on down there, put the tensioner back in the alternator, do the turbo pipe, drop in the airbox, reconnect the intercooler, and we're done. If you found this video helpful, please make sure you like, subscribe, and even give it a share, maybe a comment or two. It helps the channel. You guys are awesome. Cheers. To change the thermostat, you will need the thermostat itself here on the right and the rubber seal for the thermostat on the left. Now, at time of doing this, I got both of these from Repco or your local auto parts store. The thermostat itself was $65 and the rubber seal was $6.